Continuing with the Schutz phenomenology, we move on to the meaning, motive, and accounts. The concept of motive is often used to try to grasp the subjective meaning of another person's action. Motive is, let's say, the urge for a particular action. That is why a person took that action. What was the, let's say, force to act? What was the force which moved the person, which urged the person to take a certain action? That means, what was the meaning of that motive? How do we know what was the motive? Can we understand it from the action of an individual? Now that deciphering the person's, let's say, meaning or what we attribute to that, I think it is very difficult. So we see that that's the dilemma, that what we understand from the motive of the action and what was the actual, let's say, meaning of that motive. So that is a dilemma. So what is the motive to act? Does the actor and the observer or other persons attach the same meaning? Now that's a important question. So motive is the subjective meaning of another person's action. Subjective meaning of another person's action. Okay. So do we understand the motive similarly as the person who took the action? Is the observer, is it possible for the observer to reach the same meaning of that motive? Now that's a difficult situation. So Schutz try to distinguish between, let's say, two meanings. One, the in order to motive, that is, in order to motive, focus on the future goal. Person took action in order to achieve certain goal. The second is the because motive, that the person took action because of certain factors which were there, which happened in the past. So because of those actions, the person took that action. So action to achieve the goal or action because of certain existing situations. So we see that that is how try to explain the experiences of the actors. So we see that in order to motive, it is the future oriented and involves explaining an action in terms of the goal which person wants to achieve. The person has a project and he wants to successfully complete that project. Project might be of getting a degree, project might be for achieving some other goal. The other one is the because motive. So we try to identify the actor's past experiences, and because of that, because of those experiences or those factors contributed to the development of action. So this is explained, that action is explained because of the past experiences. So we look at a particular example of a murder. So in order to motive क्या है? In order to का motive यानी गोल क्या है जिसने मर्डर किया? उसका गोल ये था कि विक्टिम से उसने लेट्स से नकदी छीननी है, पैसे छीनने हैं और उसके बाद विक्टिम को ख़त्म करना है ताकि वो पुलिस तक ना पहुंच सके, ताकि उसको पकड़ा ना जाए. दैट्स इन ऑर्डर टू समथिंग. और बिकॉज की अगर बात करें तो फिर उसका मोटिव ये है, हो सकता है, या उसके फैक्टर्स, उसने किया क्यों या काम, उसके फैक्टर्स माइट बी लुक्ड इनटू द बैकग्राउंड. द पर्सन माइट बी a poor person, that poverty might have, let's say, motivated that individual, that criminal, to commit that activity, or it might be, let's say, the company of his peer group, and the company might be those of criminals, and that is he did it because he's part of that, and that has become part of his let's say personality. Similarly, we see that why a student studies hard. It might be to earn a high grade, or it might be the instructor told him कि भाई ये तो इम्तिहान जो आएगा, test जो होगा, that's very tough kind of test, and that is why the person is the student is doing, let's say, extra work in order to, let's say, get through it. So such explanations may be incorporated in the accounts of people, or we see that they try to provide an explanation for their behavior, and that is what is ethnomethodology, where we look into the thick explanation of the behavior of the individuals. So we see that observers can identify the possible motives which the actors may be unaware. So that is a different kind of situation. The question of motivation and other aspects of subjective meanings are of interest to others. अब ये हम देखते हैं कि मुख्तलिफ motivations इनकी explanation लोग देते हैं. So they attribute different reasons for the motives, और वो एक दूसरे से clash भी कर जा सकती हैं. So we see that there are difficulties in understanding what goes on in anyone else's subjective consciousness. So that's we see that is it the same? Well, that is a empirical kind of question which might be checked. So people have varying interests in explaining their own motives or motives others. So interest hai, explaining means that is the how do they account for. We see that when we look at the, let's say, a case in the court, the prosecution is giving its own explanation of the motives, whereas the defendants might be giving a different kind of, let's say, explanations of the motive, and the family of the victim might be giving altogether different. So these, let's say, explanations can be different, although these explanations are being given of the action. Explanations are given by those people who may not have witnessed the actual action taking place by the something which is being attributed to the, let's say, defendant. So even when an individual is being observed in actual performance of the act, the observer's ability to understand the action is limited. So that's an issue of phenomenology, and that's where Schutz is trying to see. So the observer's ongoing stream of consciousness while viewing the action may differ from that of the actor performing it. So these are the difficulties which Schutz is trying to explain, which are, let's say, part of the phenomenological approach to the study of situations.